President that is there today, how many years has he stayed? 2 years. And you could see where we are. Look at the turn of things in 2 years. That means that you can change things in 2 years. If I was there in 2 years, Charles, that you would have seen considerable change. In critical areas, I would have tackled corruption head on.
Saudi Arabia is a country that is blessed with oil, and you can see how that oil has translated into multi-billion and trillion-dollar fortunes for the entire country. Another country that possesses oil just like Saudi Arabia is Nigeria. But Nigeria has actually languished in poverty and penury over the past couple of decades. Peter Obi, who is the presidential candidate of the Labour Party for the 2027 elections, has come out to declare his plans on how he plans to transform Nigeria into an economically productive country, rivaling top countries in the world and economies like Saudi Arabia. In today's video, we'll dissect all of these things. Ensure you stick with me from the beginning of this video to the very end so you get to know all we are talking about. If you are new to the channel, consider clicking the red subscribe button and turning on the notification icon so you don't miss our future videos on this topic. If you are new to the channel, consider subscribing to the channel and sharing the video with your friends who really want to learn more about this topic. Moving over to the video. The state of a nation's economy largely depends and determines the quality of life enjoyed by its citizens. With high unemployment rate, rising poverty rate, epileptic power supply, huge infrastructure deficit, soaring cost of fuel subsidy, and problematic foreign exchange rate management, Nigerians are desirous of a president who understands the workings of the economy and will be able to make the economy work for them. In the continuation of a series that featured both Alhaji Atiku Abubakar as Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who were the presidential candidates of PDP, the People's Democratic Party, and the APC of the All Progressive Party. A lot has been done, and Suleiman Olarewanju x-rays the economic plans of Peter Obi, the Labour Party's presidential candidate, as expounded in presentations and press interviews. Mr. Peter Obi, the Labour Party's presidential candidate, is not just skilled in wealth creation and wealth multiplication, he is also a master of wealth management and conservation. As a businessman, he created wealth not just for himself, but a whole lot of others. As the governor of Anambra State, he did not just manage the resources of the state, he also multiplied and conserved it for future generations. On his watch, Anambra State became the first subnational in Nigeria to commence sub-sovereign wealth savings. By the end of his tenure, he was said to have left the equivalent of $500 million in investments in the state in both local and foreign currencies, including $156 million in dollar-denominated bonds. By creating an enabling environment, many local and international companies established their presence in the state. Sabmiller, the second largest brewing company in the world, built its first greenfield facility in Anambra State. Obi's administration was the first in Nigeria to do poverty mapping as a guide for the effective implementation of his poverty alleviation strategies. Imagine what Obi could do if he became the president. The former Anambra State governor has promised to build on his accomplishments as a state governor to make Nigeria stronger economically if elected as the president in the forthcoming elections, the presidential polls. He promised to ensure that the nation's resources are used to bring out the best in the citizens and prepare a great future for them. To achieve his idea of a better and more economically viable Nigeria, Mr. Obi has identified some priority areas on which he will concentrate. Talking about the power sector, at different fora, Obi has spoken about his plan for the power sector. But before we get to that, ensure you are subscribed to the channel and also ensure that your notifications are turned on so you don't miss our future videos. While speaking at a program organized by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industries for presidential candidates, the Labour Party candidate said, "Even though I am aware that power has been moved from exclusive list to the concurrent list, we will go beyond it. We will aggressively support the private sector to invest in the power chain through a multifaceted approach, particularly the transmission infrastructure. As we all know, two components of the power sector, generation and distribution, have been privatized and liberalized, leaving the most critical component, transmission, in the hands of government, which is causing inefficiency and darkness. We will therefore vigorously pursue the liberation of the transmission infrastructure in addition to a robust power mix, embedded power, and renewable energy." Obi, who stressed the importance of regular electricity supply to economic growth, added that his administration would support the existing companies in the distribution and generation arms by ensuring adequate gas supply to the companies. He also said that we will ensure that the generation, transmission, and distribution are properly aligned. We will ensure clear certainty of policy and regulatory environments for them to operate, and we will support them with access to funding that is attractive and deal with some tax incentives. Obi added that his administration would limit government involvement in the power sector to providing sovereign guarantees and policy clarity and certainty that will attract private sector investment. He continued, "I'm not saying that I'm going to be a superman, but I'm going to bring the political will to follow the rule of law. I'm offering the ability to do the right thing and ensure that it is done going forward from 2023. And on petrol subsidy, he described his subsidy as an organized crime and promised to bring it to an end by encouraging the settling up of privately owned refineries. He said, "The subsidy is an organized crime, and said that 60% of the subsidy is corruption, and that will be dealt with decisively. Secondly, we will aggressively start to ensure the promotion of local refining that is private sector driven and supply them crude oil in naira to refine for domestic consumption." He added, "There are two elements of subsidy, the corruption component and the real subsidy component. The oil subsidy arrangement as it stands is fraught with criminality. It is unacceptable, and for corruption, we will deal with it decisively, which will reduce the subsidy cost by over 60%, and there will be weighted measures and counterbalances, policies, and programs to cushion the impact of the removal of oil subsidy. And when it is removed, the difference is that now only some secret and self-entitled few benefit from the oil subsidy, and that narrative will change." He said he will support local refinery for domestic use and price strictly in naira, starting with all government vehicles with transition to gas-powered cars. And on oil theft, Oyi said the case of oil theft had increased in the country because there is collusion between some Nigerians and their foreign collaborators. He said he believes in continuity in governance, but each extant policy must be considered and if need be reviewed on its merit. He talked about unemployment and ways to create jobs for Nigerians. He assured Nigerians that he will unlock the nation's greatness and transform her from a consuming country to a producing one. Underscoring the importance of job creation, he said, "Once jobs are created and youth are gainfully engaged and productive, insecurity will no longer to the barest minimum and will no longer be a lucrative business." Nigeria is challenged by high youth unemployment, which starts at about 33%, and 54% of the youth are 20 million out of school children. And they must give this country back to the Nigerian youth, as half of the 200 million population are below the age of 30. If you watch this point, it means to be interested in more videos from our channel. Kindly click the red subscribe button and turn on the notification icon so you don't miss our future videos on this channel. And I'll see you in my very next video.